everyone. In this segment, we're talking about invisible creatures. Invisible Bigfoot, Lemurians. We're making some connections, and I'm reading passages from several different books. If you have thoughts and opinions on these topics and you would like to be heard from, leave us a voicemail at 614-388-9109, or you can give us an email at ourbigdumbmouth@gmail.com. And you can subscribe to the podcast. Just go to ourbigdumbmouth.com. And as always, this segment features cursing and adult content. So if you're easily offended, don't listen. But for those of you who do, thanks for listening and commenting. Talk to you later. Let's do this. Come on. Come on, everybody. Let's do this.
I yield. Please, no more.
Well, as you can see, we're very weird.
All right. Back for another fantastic paranormal conspiracy segment. I've taken the time, my vacation time, to do some researching on various topics that some of our YouTube comments have suggested that I do, besides kill myself and go fuck myself. There have been a few YouTube comments that, hey, why don't you go ahead and read this book, or here's a suggestion of what to read about for missing 401 stuff, or aliens, or Bigfoot. And I've actually, downloaded some Kindle books and perused them. And I've decided to take on the topic of invisible creatures, because in some of the missing 401 stuff that Jeff and I have been reading and that we've told Joe about, is that there's creatures that might be invisible. There's actually, purported video out there of like these translucent creatures that are moving. Yeah, it could be optical illusion. It could be a lens flare or some kind of compression distortion that happens. But that's one of the things that keeps popping up in a lot of these books that I've read, is that there are some kind of transparent, translucent creatures or completely dark black creatures that are stalking people, preying on them, or just interacting and confronting humans in a certain way. And I've been scanning through a bunch of different books, and I'm going to I'll give you the name of the book before I read the passage. And because I think passively, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that we can maybe agree on that a lot of the stuff we talk about when it comes to paranormal stuff, or UFOs or Bigfoot, it kind of all leads back to missing 401 in some way.
You could definitely tie it in.
I think so. I think that's the missing 401 is the result of a lot of incidents, and some people get away, or some people forget. But I think the missing 401 documentation, all those books, those are the end result of people interacting with the paranormal. And so I'm doing my best to dig through, and yeah, I'm going to be making some leaps in logic here and making some assumptions. I'm doing the dirty work that David Paulides refuses to do. I'm sure he has his theories. I think actually David Paulides is leaning towards. I think that David Paulides, when it comes to missing 401, I think he's actually leaning towards aliens and UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just blow my brains out now and save yourself some time?
Okay.
This Carl. You know what you need when he says, this don't matter. None of this matters.
I love that. That's one of my favorite ones.
Thanks, Joe.
I do agree with you. I think, and then all the stories, they do tend to relate, like all the goat mans, the dog, all the things that happen before people go missing or somebody has one of these paranormal incidents. They all tend to relate. People describe stuff in different ways. Like, who knows if there's a lot more confluence with what's happening, or if it's all manner of, you got Bigfoot and the Dog Man and an alien and all this other stuff. I mean, could it be all of them, or is it like one thing that people are just misrepresenting or something?
That's the $10,000 question. That's not a lot of money anymore, but it's a lot to me and you.
Oh, God damn, I could pay at least
So here, I'm going to read some passages from these books. This first book that I'm going to read from is called Predator in the Woods. And this was actually recommended to us on YouTube. And so I'm going to read from this passage. I found this, and I found this to be kind of interesting. So this is about a guy that is going in the woods. He's hunting and fishing. He's just, dealing with the environment. Probably just, being one of the woods. And it starts off here. I made some whoop sounds while fishing, just joking around. Then something intimidating came crashing through the trees, breaking branches as it came. This began my fascination with Bigfoot and studying the existence of it, particularly in the national parks. He believes he had an encounter. Only this time it was much closer, and he claims the creature was in stealth mode. And he goes on to say, it squatted down. I could barely make out its eyes and body shape. It was dark green. It was reflecting the foliage surrounding it. He didn't see this at the time. He discovered it when watching back at the video that he recorded as he walked through the woods. After it passed, it turned back to black. That's when it came out of stealth mode. He posted the images online to bfjournal.com. I think this is a blog. So I'll find the pictures and post them up. So this guy, fascinated with Bigfoot, good equipment out there, captures some images of translucent creatures. He claims it has a stealth mode. I don't know. It kind of goes along with the invisible stuff that we've talked thus far.
Yeah, some hyperphasing or whatever the hell you want to call it. Coming in and out.
If you remember, Jeff, I read that incident from the Pennsylvania book, UFO Bigfoot Pennsylvania book, where there were two gentlemen walking down the railroad tracks, swearing to God that they saw something kind of phase in and out of existence right in front of them.
Yes. What was that website again? You said where the person posted photos?
Oh, 1 second here. It gives the location. Yeah, I want you to look it up while I read the next passage. bf-field.journal.
Bigfoot Field Journal. Okay, .blogspot.com.
There you go. Take a look at that. Take a look at Bigfoot Field Journal at blogspot.com and see if you can take a look at this translucent creature that he was referring to in that passage.
Yeah, I got to look for it.
Yeah, we got to find it. I'm on the site, but it kind of goes everywhere. I see Dogman right away.
Okay. I'll read from this next passage. So this also comes from the same book. And this book takes a lot of different sources. It takes a lot of different accounts, and it kind of creates a whole different kind of feel of what we're dealing with here when it comes to invisible creatures. And in this passage, it goes on, said, there may exist many races in the interior of the Earth of different densities depending on their plane of vibration. I believe some of these underground races can shift between third and fourth dimensions so that sometimes they are visible to human sight and invisible at other point in times. This comes from Riley, the editor of Borderland Science. Riley's conclusions also come from studying, among other, the works of Max Heidel, the Rosicrucian Cosmos Conception, which in Heidel writes, the first step towards occultism is the study of the invisible world, non-existent and incomprehensible because we lack the sight to perceive them. The mysterious forces which causes... I'm sorry, I have to click through my Kindle. Causes phenomena remains invisible to us, but if with methods of our higher senses are awakened, we are able to behold the worlds hidden. And so it goes on to say that there are hidden worlds. It goes in like in the interior idea. Like there's not necessarily a hollow earth. They're not saying hollow earth here, but they're saying the interior of the earth. It could be caverns. It could be caves. It could be something else.
Yeah, the hollow earth stuff was always very, very bold. Like, oh, underneath the surface, it's all empty, and there's a whole thing upside down, blah, blah, blah. Super sci-fi.
And this book, the Predators in the Woods, is full of like different kind of ideas like this, kind of put it together to try to create a thesis around this, which I like. It's a nice compendium of different accounts and ideas. And those are just the two I picked out of that book to kind of underlie what I'm talking about here. This next thing comes from a book called caverns, cauldrons, and concealed creatures, which I like. And you can pick these up on Kindle, and we're not selling these at all. We're not underwritten by Kindle at all.
He didn't ghostwrite these.
No, I'm not. Nothing that we talk about here. We're not being paid to talk about any of this shit. This is just stuff that we like to talk about.
Fish, but
I'll be paid by Kindle and these guys. Yeah, sure. So this one is, like I said, comes from caverns, cauldrons, and concealed creatures. This passage is about hairy humanoids. Many eyewitness accounts of hairy-covered humanoids have been reported and documented over the years by people from a wide range of backgrounds and professionals. While Bigfoot or Sasquatch is the type whose description is known to most people, perhaps equal by the Yeti in the Himalayas, the literature would indicate that not only are these living flesh and blood creatures, but they also come in a wide variety of physical configurations. Yet, like the lake monsters, they seem to pop in and out of our surface world reality and are amazingly difficult to track for creatures so large. In addition to the tiring Bigfoot form, witnesses have reported stunted clawed versions of the savage dispositions, black winged varieties, screeching horrors with shaggy hair-covered faces, gigantic varieties which would dwarf the Sasquatch. In addition, they also have rotting egg or skunk-like odors often accompanying most of these forms. These creatures come into our world usually by night and then retreat into an invisible cavern or subterranean world about which only they know, vanishing without a trace. This does not have a connotation of the supernatural, but has the connotation of a natural phenomenon and is logically conclusive. Not only does it indicate an underworld connection, but also indicates intelligent covering of tracks and evidence in which is beyond the ordinary animal and can only equate to premeditated and well-planned actions of human beings or something at least as clever. Which it completely makes sense. So how many Bigfoot sightings have there been, and then how many have been shown live on TV in a cage? 0 have been seen on TV live in a cage. That are true. There's been plenty of hoaxes out there. So it would seem that these assholes are covering their tracks, and they're doing it willfully with knowledge, or like in the Predators in the Woods version, that they have some sort of cloaking ability. And that's not without precedent in nature. I mean, if you look at nature, there are plenty of sea creatures that are able to turn themselves invisible. Oh, fuck, we have lizards that are like chameleons that can change their color.
Yeah, I like this idea. The whole notion of, well, there was that Canadian government minister or whatever. He was talking about how there's multiple races of these aliens and so forth, and some of the governments have had deals made with them. Like, what if they have technology? What if they have access? What if they can say, look, we need these people down here to do this thing, and if you want to make it look like something else happened, this whole Bigfoot thing hasn't gone away yet, just fake that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's technological or if it's a natural biological defense mechanism that they have that they use for hunting. I'm open to either or. All I know is if this does exist, the military wants it. And if it's like a personal stealth suit that exists, or if it's naturally occurring in humanoid creatures, the military wants it to be used as a weapon. There's no doubt about that. They want it.
For sure.
Well, that's what I mean. Is I think if they can communicate with these creatures, if they've established some, like when you watch Arrival, you know, it's all about first contact. When you watch that, if they've been able to establish some sort of a communication system and they're allied with each other, they can manipulate all kinds of things just based on the different technology that we've established here on Earth. They always talk about alien technology and what's been we got these, stealth technology from, extraterrestrials and so forth. It's interesting to me to think that these alliances that the Canadian government people are saying are out there, and other people have said before, like the aliens, we're dealing with them. Like, you know, they could be planning all kinds of random stuff. They could be gaslighting the entire population of Earth.
Kind of funny.
It's incredible to believe and to consider, but I think we should, considering how many eyewitness accounts there are. We can't claim to know exactly what's going on, but I think we can kind of piece together a few things here. So in this last passage that I will read, this comes from a book on Mount Shasta, and this is in chapter 5.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, you're going to Mount Shasta, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
I hope that you encounter something weird, but I don't want you to get disappeared.
Well, if I get disappeared, you know it's real.
I guess you're right. So let's pray that you never come back.
Well, I want you to like GoPro live stream you getting banged by whatever mysterious creature decides to hook up with you, because apparently swipe left and swipe right, all that stuff. Like, is that what's taking you to Mount Shasta? What's going on with this?
My buddy's out there in a graduate program. That's his spring break. So, like, hey, let's go to Northern California and see the redwoods. And by the way, let's stop at Mount Shasta. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, stop at Mount Shasta. What the hell?
I hope you get fisted by a Bigfoot so bad.
Yeah. Make sure
buy something to record it.
And Jeff, remember, if you see anything like cryptozoological in nature, look at the genitals, please.
Immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, go and point it at its crotch.
Yeah.
Bring like one of those like waist measuring things that they have at like tailors and stuff. Like that, you could just
a tape measure.
I need to get an inseam from Bigfoot, please. I'm making him a tux. All right, this last little section here that I'm going to read is chapter 5 from Mount Shasta's Forgotten History and Legends. In 1925, an article linking Mount Shasta to Lemuria first appeared in the Rosicrucian publication called The Mystic Triangle, entitled Descendants of Lemuria, a description of the ancient cult in California, written by the personage who went by the name of Frater Savelis. The article goes into detail about a mystic village hidden on the slopes of Mount Shasta, protected by an invisible barrier and inhabited by a particular white-robed people described as being the descendants of the ancient Lemurians. A shy and secretive people, they sometimes reported to be seen along the highways and streets near downtown or near the town, and were known to purchase unusual commodities in shops with gold nuggets whose values far exceeded the worth of the goods. He went on to write that the locals and travelers often witnessed mysterious lights which illuminated the whole southern side of Mount Shasta at times, which he purported to be ancient cemeteries. Ancient ceremonies practiced by Lemurians in their mystic village. Among the many marvels he talked about in the article, he claims that the Lemurian temple, made of delicately carved marble and onyx, could be found in the village and has withstood all the tremors and earthquakes of California for ages. Is Lemurians who have been seen on some of the roads in broad daylight only to disappear completely in a few seconds, as they have an uncanny ability to turn themselves invisible at will. They also, that many testify to have seen strange boats which sail the Pacific Ocean and then rise at its shores, and the sails through the air drop out again in the vicinity of Mount Shasta. So there you go. Some more invisible stuff. Lemurians having a whole village paying for God knows what in the town with gold nuggets far exceeding their goods in value, and then they're walking down the road and they can turn themselves invisible.
I can do that.
A couple different things going on there. We talked about predators in the wood turning themselves invisible. Talking about the idea of Bigfoot being able to cover his tracks, or Sasquatch being able to cover his tracks, or camouflage itself in some way so it's undetectable, either by doing some track covering or camouflaging itself like a chameleon, or hiding in caverns. And then we have the Lemurians, who can have an invisible city and turn themselves invisible at will. A couple different things going on there about invisibility. bizarre as fuck.
I want to be invisible. I don't know. The invisibility is pretty cool. That's pretty rad. You could jack off in all the right places, but
you would be the best peeping Tom in the world.
Yeah, you can steal a lot of money probably, and that'd be probably good. I think the flying thing is still pretty epic to me because you'd be like, "Fuck you, bitch! I stole your money. I don't give a shit if you saw me."
Yeah, I kind of would rather fly than be invisible, but invisibility would be great. What do you think about this stuff? I know I didn't go into a great deal. These are only little tidbits of a much deeper subject that you can read about, but it's fairly intriguing. I mean, I like these legends, especially about Lemuria. I like personal encounters when it comes to Sasquatch, and I like theories about what Sasquatch could be or what their intent are. It all kind of fits together here, especially when you take into people's accounts in the woods encountering weird shit.
Yeah, put that in there.
Put it in there. I don't know. I'm going to have to read more about the Lemurian ancient civilization that is invisible. I'm going to read more about that in this Mount Shasta book, and I'll let you know what I find out, Clown Baby, before you go.
Sounds good. We'll keep covering it. I definitely want to bring back Monster of the Week next week. I just need more time. I won't be as busy at work, so the segment will come back.
All right. Well, that's all I got for some paranormal and weird stuff. I think we can move on and do some headlines.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do that. Come on now. Let's do this.
Now it's time for the motherfucking news. When news gets hard, we get hard on news.
I demand that this insanity be stopped.